20.
Santa Clarita's hometown station, KHTS 98.1 FM and AM 1220. This is the Hometown Morning Show with Tori and Kyle. And Tori, we have a very special guest in studio.
Oh, yeah, we do. It's Richard Szerman from Alta Realty. Richard Szerman, with the funny last name.
Yeah.
Is here, and we're going to talk about a lot of serious stuff. We have such a good time with you. Every time you come in, you have serious stuff to talk about. We talk about mortgages and ghost payments and things.
Zombie seconds, yeah.
Zombie seconds
Yeah,
and all of this kind of stuff. Very important stuff. I want to say this first. If you need a guy, he's your guy. Everybody has a guy.
Everybody should have a guy.
Everybody should have a guy.
I'll be the guy.
If you need a guy, Richard Szerman's your guy. I'm not kidding around.
Well, I'm mostly your guy for real estate, but if you need your house painted, I suppose I can help with that too. What have you got in mind? I'll be the guy.
Because you know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy.
Okay.
I know a guy.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I wanted to talk today about the fires that we just experienced, because a lot of, what we do is foreclosure defense and dealing with banks and things like that, trying to make the wrong things right, as it were. And we've got now a slew of clients that came out of the recent fires. Even one in Paradise, of all strange things. I went to school up there, so I know some people up there. But we now have, I think, 4 clients from the fires just in the last week. One of whom, it's not funny. They had a gorgeous house. We sold them in Malibu, and they were just finishing the remodel on it, and it burnt to the ground. So that's
Richard.
A little depressing. Yeah, but all things considered, they have insurance. They weren't living in it yet. Nobody died, most importantly. They're going to be fine. But we have other clients who are in much more trouble, because whenever you have a disaster, the insurance company should step in. They should do what they're supposed to do, and most of the time they do. But often you get into arguments as to what is the value of the property, how quickly are they going to do things. And I'll tell you 2 quick stories, sort of a case studies as to how to handle this and how not to handle this. I have one client who called up, and he said, I just lost my house, and he was very happy about this. I said, that seems very strange that you lost your house. How does your wife feel about that? He said, oh, she's fine. We're at Disneyland. I said, what? He said, well, they evacuated us. We had no place else to go. I like Disneyland a lot. It was far enough away from the area that I knew we'd be fine. So he went to Disneyland. He just took an impromptu vacation, which is an interesting way to handle that, but at least it kept his spirits up.
Right,
for the Magic Kingdom and all.
Sure.
His problem at the moment, though, is that his insurance company has already started with him, because these are custom houses by and large. His insurance company has already started in with him that his house is not worth what it's worth, so he's going to be into a fight for that. And we do that sort of stuff too. So in addition to fighting with banks, we also fight with insurance companies. You get into arguments with insurance companies as to what it's worth, and that's the second case study. There is, we've got some other clients who were evacuated. They went to a center. Now they're staying on a friend's couch, and they literally, it's family of 4, and they have no place to live. And the insurance company has been extremely slow with providing them any sort of voucher or anything else. So, and they don't have the money to just go to Disneyland and take off for a while. So we're talking to their insurance. They're being very nice about it, as they often are. Mm-hmm. But we're talking to their insurance company now. And there are a lot of things that when people go through disaster that they don't think about. Like, for example, your property taxes. If you reach out to the county that you're in, either Ventura or Los Angeles, and say, hey, I've got this stuff, you file a 1-page form, and you say, I've had this disaster, the county will set aside your property taxes for a while, which will make things easier for you.
Do you have to? Ooh, let me stop you.
Please.
Now, do you have to, when you rebuild, do you owe them the back property taxes?
No, they'll suspend it for a while.
Okay.
So basically the idea is so that you don't wind up going into default, paying for a house that you can't live in because God has foreclosed.
Got it.
That's kind of the idea. So if you reach out to these various people, and you got to kind of go through everything. You got to go through your insurance, your mortgage, your taxes, your homeowner's insurance, your homeowner's association if you have one. You've got to kind of proactively approach all those people. And you'll find that in a disaster in California anyway, I wouldn't speak for other areas, but in a disaster, when you approach somebody and say, hey, I've had this happen, usually people are really good about it, at least at first. When it gets down to the money, it tends to get a little more difficult. But they usually are pretty good about it. The trick is to think about all these various things that you need to contact, which is a pretty impossible task given that you've just gone through a disaster and you don't even know where your toothbrush is, let alone, your HOA is not your primary concern in that sort of experience.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
That's where we kind of step in. It's one of the many things that we do. And again, it's just another one of these advocacy things that we get into. I started doing this in the 94 earthquake, so it's been a while. I wound up sort of accidentally working for FEMA in the the 94 earthquake. There was nothing else to do. The park across the street from my house was a FEMA station, and I just wandered over there because a lot of people were there, and frankly, I was bored and we had no TV. So, and people started asking real estate questions. The next thing I know, this gal from FEMA gave me a little vest and said, "You're now a volunteer." And I said, "Great, I'll volunteer." And so we've been involved with this sort of stuff for a while. Insurance companies are a little easier to deal with than mortgage companies. In the opening salvos, it's all fairly simple. But after that, it gets more complicated, and you've got to advocate for yourself. And people often can't do that when they're in a crisis. Much like with the mortgage defense stuff, it's very, very similar sort of stuff for us. People have a very difficult time advocating for themselves when they're in a crisis. So we step into that breach.
Because that's why they're in a crisis
for a reason. Yeah,
exactly.
I
mean, they're probably in shock, and they probably can't even. When you have some kind of shock in your world, and you just kind of don't even know where you are at this point. You're like, what? So thinking of all of these things, that's why they always say, you should plan for your death. Do all those things while you're in good health. Make sure all your affairs are in order. So when the time comes, your loved ones won't be all, shocked and now what do we do? And they have to deal with this kind of stuff while they're grieving. So with that being said, is there something, because this is our reality, Southern California has fires and earthquakes and disasters. That being said, is there something that we can do proactively while the house is standing, while there are no fires going on? Is there anything we can get our ducks in a row so when that time comes, we can grab a file?
Well, as you know,
what do you think?
I love your listeners. I love my clients. These are wonderful people, but they're not going to do it. Yes, the answer is yes. It's very obvious. Put together a folder with all of the various bills that you pay every month, names and phone numbers, things like that. But people aren't going to do it. You can suggest they do it. You can ask them to do it. You can beg them to do it. Hell, you can do 99% of it for them, and they're still not going to do it. It's just. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm telling you, it's a laudable goal, but it's just not going to happen. And for most people, it's just not. So what typically happens is you're always playing catch up. Because who the heck? There are plenty of people who this time last week thought their house would be fine by now. They had no idea it was going to burn down.
Right.
Because that would be kind of strange. The one client, the house has been there for 45 years. Been through earthquakes and fires and floods and all sorts of stuff in Malibu, and it's never been touched. This time it burnt down. And so it's always a good idea to prepare. Always, we should all do that. But the reality is you're not going to. Life gets in the way. You got kids, you got this, you got that, you got jobs, all these other things going on. And nobody takes the 45 minutes it might take to put together one of these. And even if you do, you have to update it all the time. So as much as that would be a wonderful thing to do, and yes, everyone should do that, it's just one folder, one piece of paper, which is the various names and phone numbers on it, will get you most of the way there. But people aren't going to do it. They're just not. That's just the reality. And rather than getting caught up in, I should have done this and I didn't, which is not useful, we have to now deal with where are you at now? How do we fix this problem? How do we get the best out of this for you going forward? And that's where we step in. So if you've got somebody, if you have a friend, family member, or you yourself are in range of this and you've heard about this, or if you've had a disaster, it doesn't have to be a massive disaster. It could be just your own, it could be your own house burned down. You have to be one of 500. Call us. We can help. There's a lot of stuff that we can do. All things real estate that you have a problem with, whether it's title problems, mortgage problems, insurance problems, whatever it is, there's no facet of it that we don't get involved with. We've had, whatever it is, I've seen one of them, if not 100 of them over the years. And if I don't, I know people who do. There aren't a whole lot of people who do what we do. There really aren't. And certainly nobody who does it for free. So we step into that breach all the time because we find that when you're able to help somebody who's in crisis, when you're able to help them kind of dig out of that crisis, they get better, and it's fun to be part of that. It's a good time. It really is fun to kind of watch it sort of, get their lives come back into bloom, into flower. It's very, very fun. Plus, we get clients out of it, which is a nice thing for us too. Because if we help you for free when you're in trouble, well, when you're not in trouble, there's more fun stuff to be done, like buying or selling a house. You'll hopefully come back. That's up to them. Nobody has to promise that or anything. We just ask, but it is what keeps the lights on for us. But yeah, no, we do a lot of this sort of stuff. So if you know somebody who's been in some trouble or who's had an emergency, fire, flood, even if it's just you flooded your kitchen and the insurance company's not playing nicely, we've got one of those in Saugus right now too. Come to us. We'll be happy to help. We do insurance stuff just like we do mortgage stuff. I get yelled at for not talking about this enough, but I'm only about 10% of what we do, but so it's not the lion's share. But we get into insurance claims as well.
Hey, listen, if you have a question as to whether or not Richard and his team can help you, just call him.
Yeah.
If he can't help you, I'm sure he's got a guide.
We can help you.
What's your number? What's your number? Because I know people call you day and night.
Yeah, and I love it. I love it. It keeps me busy. I get nervous. My phone stops ringing. 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. 1400. You can reach me at that number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's what my life is. I enjoy it this way. It makes me feel useful. And if I don't answer, you can always text. You can text me at that number as well. I return my text pretty quickly as well. Again, 661-714-1400. And my name again is Rich Szerman. And my last name is funny. It's only funny to other people. It's spelled S-Z, even though it's pronounced S-H. So if you imagine the Z having the sound of an H, it makes better sense.
I think it comes right up. If you do Richard S-Z, I think you can stop there when you Google. I think it comes...
You can just do the S-Z. There's not a whole lot of competition for that particular name. It's funny. There is a musician who has my exact same name, and people keep thinking it's me, and I don't play that well. So I play, but not that well. So that's kind of fun. But other than that, there's a doctor, I think, in Argentina who has that name. I'm
Not
sure we're
you.
related.
Yeah, not
but
you.
not me. No, the only one, as far as I know, in real estate is me, as far as I know. But yeah, just S-Z, and you'll get me real
Richard
quick.
Szerman, thank you so much for
Always
helping
a
out.
pleasure to come in. Thank you.
Listen, he is your guy. And if you have a question, give him a buzz. And if you're in the car right now, you couldn't write that down, just call the station, go to hometownstation.com. We'll get you to him, that's for sure. Hey, have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. We're here to help.
Beep, 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 beep. Go!
All right, quickly.